Oh, hey, my friends. How are you doing today? I'm gonna move my paints a little bit. Good morning. Well, it's morning for me. Might not be morning for you, but come on in. Come on in to this monthly intentional creativity session with your friend Sage. Come on in. All right. I'm going to wait a minute, let some folks arrive. If y'all know me, you know that right at the top of the hour, I'm jumping in and ready to rock and roll, trying to put my patient pants on, let some folks come in. So if you're here, say hi in the chat. Who's here? What you up to? Tell me all the things. Oh, hey, Jen. Oh, hey, my friend. Welcome. How you doing this morning? I'm going to be sipping on my coffee. I made a delicious cup of coffee today. Oh, and I'm ready to get in on this page with y'all. Get in on the page. Hey, Jen, can you hear me all right? There's a little microphone diagram, and it's saying that my microphone is on the lighter side. I just make sure you can hear me. Um, hey, Amy, waiting for your coffee to brew. Love it. Well, good morning, Roberta. Hi, my friends. Got some of my favorite humans here. I love it. All right. Okay, thank you, Jen. I appreciate it. Like, I don't know what this thing is telling me on the YouTube, but I want to make sure y'all can hear me. So hey, friends. Let's see. This month I decided to go with the theme of reflection for a few reasons. Reflection, because we are now in the 8th month of 2024. Don't I have no idea how that happened so fast, but it did. And so I'm feeling a little of the fall energy pulling me in. And my summer people, don't be hating, saying it's still summer for those of you in the northern hemisphere. Um Uh, but there is this pull of, I'm feeling this pull of looking towards fall and just kind of grounding into, um, like, is there anything that I get to shift? Is there anything that I get to prepare for my journey into fall? And for those of you who took my Wheel of the Year painting retreat, this is a really great time to reconnect with that painting, which I've been doing. I will also host that painting retreat again this December because I had a lot of fun with that. But we did a Wheel of the Year, and it was a reflection of, yeah, how we feel in each of the seasons. And I can already find myself like wanting to look into the future. And so I thought this would be a lovely time to kind of reflect um, on these past 7 months of 2024, and look at, what do we get to celebrate about what we've created? Who did we get to be this year? How did we respond or react to situations? So we're gonna do a little reflection page. Does that sound good? You down with that? Hope so. So you're going to need the usual supplies, which are, if you've got a Cosmic Smash book, open that baby up. If not, you don't have to have a Cosmic Smash book to enjoy this session. You can have your own art journal. You can have a sheet of paper. Everything that I do with intentional creativity can be created with whatever you have on hand. You don't need anything special or fancy to be able to participate and to receive awesomeness. Um, and then some coloring goodies and some collage goodies. So if you wanna pop in the chat, tell me you got your things, that you're ready to rock and roll. or anything else, any other greeting you want to tell me. I'm going to sip my coffee again, and then I'm going to get to a fresh page. I'm going to flip on over to a fresh page in my book. Oh, look at all this. My astrology. My astrology. Oh, that was from A Quest Back to Self. Smash books are like a journey. Talk about reflection. Talk about reflection. Here we are. All right, friends. I don't know what you're up to on the other side of the screen. I can't see you. But what I'm going to invite us into, oh, Roberta's ready, Freddie. I hear you. Thank you, ma'am. What I'm going to invite us into is just to take some grounding breaths, because maybe you just woke up. Maybe you've had a big, long day. Maybe you're in transition. Maybe you're not. But I think it might be a good idea just to get present with what we're up to now. So if you feel comfortable, if you want to, you can close your eyes or just have a soft gaze, and just inviting you to, I'm going to put my hand on my heart and inviting this first breath to just be like whatever happened before you sat down to be with us here in this Cosmic Smash Booking session, whatever has come before this, just to let it go. Let it be free from your mind for this next hour. Let's take a breath in and release. And this next breath is to be present, to be here with us, to close any other tabs that might be on your device, to close the door of the room that we're creating virtually. How cool is that? Let's take a breath in and release. And this next breath is in honor of you, that you gift yourself this spaciousness, this creativity, the listening, the focus, because you deserve that. Let's take a breath in and release. All right. Yay. Now we're all here and grounded into this page. So I see a few friends have joined us since I did my little greeting. We're doing a page on reflection. I'm going to be doing some reflection. So I'm going to invite us into some journaling first, and then we'll move into our page. So let's see. I have them written down so I can just copy and paste them into the chat box to make my life a little bit easier here. So I'm going to pop a journal prompt in the chat box, and I'm of course going to say it out loud. So remember, we're going to do a reflection on the past 7 months. So from January 2024 to July 2024, we're going to do a reflection of what life has been like. And if you're watching the recording of this and it's way past that time period, I'm inviting you to choose what time period you'd like to reflect on, right? Like make this session work for you. But for those of us live and in real-time space together, I'm inviting us to reflect on from January 1st to present day, really, present day. So first journal prompt is, in what situations have I felt my most authentic or true to myself? In what situations have I felt most authentic or true to myself? So I'm going to give us like 3 minutes, because that's 7 months, and inviting you to write with ease, inviting you not to overthink it. And it doesn't have to make sense, and nobody's going to read it. So it's just for you. And I'm going to use one of my feather pens. All right, 3 minutes. In what situations have I felt most authentic or true to myself? Okay, inviting you to finish up wherever you're at. Myself included. All right. Okay, second prompt going in the chat right now. How has your creative work changed or improved since the beginning of the year? And I also want to add, it could also be how has your creative processes changed or improved? It doesn't have to necessarily be your work. And if you're like, oh my gosh, I haven't been, creative, like this is not a time to self beat up, I'm inviting you to input something else to make it work for you, right? We're always looking at how we can make these prompts and these activities work for us. I'm going to go with how has your creative work / processes changed or improved since the beginning of the year? Oh, thank you. Got a whole set of these. It was a client gift. All right, here we go. Going to spend 2 or 3 minutes here. All right, finish up wherever you're at. All right. Next prompt is what do you get to let go of that you've been holding on to? Is there something that you get to forgive yourself around? Maybe you've been putting a lot of pressure on yourself. Maybe you set a goal for yourself that you've fallen off track or it's changed or, whatever the case may be, whatever's coming up for you, Whatever you're carrying right now that isn't serving you, what do you get to let go of? What do you get to make peace with and forgive yourself? Or maybe it's forgiving someone else. Let's spend 2 or 3 minutes here. Inviting you to finish up wherever you're at. This is our final prompt. What do you get to celebrate? What do you get to celebrate? Who did you get to be this year? Who have you been? What are the ways of being that you've been rocking, that you've been embracing, that you've been embodying? What have you created that you're really proud of yourself for? Allow this last prompt to be all about you and celebrate. Celebrate you. And when you're complete, I would love for you to put something in the chat box that you're celebrating so that we get to witness you and we get to celebrate you. And I'll put mine in the chat box. Let's see. Amy, you filled up 2 pages with answers to the prompts. That is awesome. That is awesome. Jen G, my 3rd novel is done and I'll be publishing in 1 month. Yay! I love it. I'm celebrating that I always choose to be the best version of myself. I always choose growth and healing. Always. Even when it's uncomfortable, even when I don't wanna, I still do it anyway. Who else? What are you celebrating that we get to witness you around? And it doesn't have to be a doing, it could be your way of being. What are you celebrating? And also, was there anything surprising that came up for you on this page? I'm curious, did anything surprise you that you remembered as you reflected? Amy, you're celebrating that you got further in your books than you ever thought you would. That is awesome. That is so good. Hey, Deepa, I'm so happy to see you here. Lissy, you said this year I am taking more creative risks than ever before. Yes. And becoming more of my true self. It's been embarrassingly delightful. I love that. I love that so much. So good. Roberta, celebrating. Wait, sorry. There's an emoji it lets me choose an emoji and it gets in my way of reading. Roberta, you said celebrating that Thrival is the next level of being for me. Yes. Thrival. I love it. Yay. All right. Feel free to keep them in the chat box. Okay, so this is the inquiry that I'm inviting us into on the page. If it doesn't speak to you, choose your own inquiry. It's totally fine. But the inquiry that I'm inviting us into is, after all of that reflection and getting real of like who we were this year, what we've created, like what's on our hearts, the inquiry that I'm going to put on my page is, what truth am I ready to acknowledge? Woo, that feels big, y'all. Does it feel big for anyone else? What truth am I ready to acknowledge? Oh my gosh, I think I got the goosebumps. So I'm going to write that inquiry on my page. What truth am I ready to acknowledge? Oh, girl. Whew. Okay. Whew. What truth am I ready to acknowledge? And then I'm going to take another color. Roberta, you're like, yes. Right? Woo. And I'm just going to add my prayers. And if prayers doesn't resonate with you, you can refer to them as affirmations, your invitations, whatever feels great for you. So I'm going to put, guide me, love me, hold me, show me, invite me. Oh, okay. I don't think I've ever written that one before. Soften me. Wake me. Love me. Oh, I wrote that one down, but can't have too much love. Okay. There we go. Amy G is saying, I'm celebrating finishing my first draft. Woohoo! And radically changed my diet to all whole foods and dropped half the extra weight I've been carrying. Both of these are bold self-care moves. Yes, they are. I'm celebrating you, friend. Yes. Choosing ourselves. That gets to be the theme of the remainder of the year. Yes, please. End our lives. Choosing ourselves. Here, I'm actually going to move my paints so you can still see. Okay, so the next step is let a color choose itself. So remember, we're intuitively letting the page do what the page does, trusting the process, and just look at your colors and be like, which color wants to play? And red jumped out. And so I'm just gonna softly move some color around and just being in the energy of this. What truth am I ready to acknowledge? Ooh, wee. That's not big at all. So I'm just thinking about that while I'm moving the color around. You can use crayons, colored pencils, markers, whatever suits your fancy. I'm going to use watercolor. I'm trying to go light because we will be working on top of this. Or if you have a hair dryer and you're using paint, you could always use that to dry your page quicker. And so when we move color around, we're moving the energy around. Those were some deep prompts. You know, we're just no big deal. We're just reflecting on the last 7 months of our lives. And so we're just moving that energy around, not letting it get stagnant, letting it move, giving it some space, and just giving some room for this inquiry of what truth am I ready to acknowledge? And when you find the good enough, listen to yourself and stop. And I'm going to take a moment and let mine dry because we're going to be working over this. Then I'm going to invite you to, if you're still moving colors, no worry, you're fine. I said colors, maybe you chose more than one color. Move your color until it feels good for you. And it's so funny. I had this vision, this idea of what I was going to show you on this page, and it just changed. I'm like, okay, all right, Muse, all right, got to go with the flow, trust the process. I mean, what we're doing is still the same, but just how I'm going to draw it. So I'm inviting you to draw the outline of a mirror. Now, the beautiful part of a mirror is you can't get it wrong because it could be any shape. It could be oval, it could be circular, it could be square, rectangular. Like a mirror could be any shape, any size. And at first I was envisioning doing a hand mirror, but now my muse is like, no, girl, you need a big old rectangular mirror. And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do what she says. So I'm just gonna draw the outline of my mirror. And so now she wants a rectangle. This morning she wanted a hand mirror. But now she wants a rectangular mirror. So you draw whatever kind of mirror is coming up from you. Or maybe if your muse is in charge like mine is, listen to her, y'all. Listen to her. And I'm going to let that be. And so the idea is to choose, like I'm going to go through some magazines and I'm going to choose things that are coming up for me. Maybe they're going to be words, texturized images, images of people, places, or things. I'm going to allow them to choose me, right? I'm not actually choosing them. That's not how this works. And I'm going to start placing them in my mirror. And this is almost going to be like the truth mirror that reflects back to me the answer to my inquiry. What truth am I ready to acknowledge? And so that truth is going to come through on our mirrors. So jump in. See what words, images, colors. If you don't have access to collage, no worries. You can use old calendars if you don't have magazines. You can use old catalogs. And if you don't have anything like that, you can draw, you can paint. It doesn't always have to be imagery. It could be words, it could be colors. The most important thing is that you're trusting yourself and you're not choosing it because you think the image is pretty. You're choosing it because it wants to be on the page. It's telling you, pick me, pick me. That's the energy we want to be in. The pick me, pick me. And sometimes I get lost in the images. I get the shiny object syndrome, and I get to revisit my inquiry just to ground back into it. What truth am I ready to acknowledge? And so I just, this image was like, pick me, pick me. So I'm going to just put it down, tear it out, and I'm going to keep going until I intuitively feel like, okay, this is good enough. And I just want to remind you that you might not understand what's coming up. Sometimes it's clear and sometimes it just isn't. And it doesn't mean you're doing anything wrong. It's just part of the process, friend. Because some of these images, I'm like, okay, what does this have to do with my truth? And it's my job to be curious about it, right? It's not really my job to question it necessarily, just my job to be curious about it. I get to trust it. And so I just kind of tear my images down and start playing with them. And just get curious. I think curiosity is the best way of being to approach this process. wouldn't normally use scissors, but I think it's going to make my life easier. And I like my life being easier. All right, I've got some ladies dancing at the bonfire by the ocean or by the water. I've got this English cottage, and I've got this moon, like crystal kind of moon. Oh, there's a Ouija board in the back. I don't really like a Ouija board, to be honest. There's not a lot that I don't like, and I'm just going to cut that out. That's not in alignment with me. I just noticed it. I'm like, and I'm going to just cut that puppy out. It was the moon that wanted to be on there. Mama don't play with Ouija boards. Okay. There we go. That feels more in alignment. All right. Never know what you're going to find with Cosmic Smash Booking with Sage. All right. So I think I'm going to start working on placement in my mirror. Yeah. And I'm saying this out loud because I'm saying it to myself. Don't overthink it. Don't overthink it. Can't get it wrong. Can't get it right. I'm just going to break down my images so they fit into my mirror. Oh, some messages are starting to come through. All right. And is it stuff that I really wanted to embrace? Not really. And it's all good. Oh, that's funny. You can't make this shit up. Oh, that's funny. All right. Okay, and I'm going to go back and look a little bit more. There's a little glare on my page, but I'm going to go back into my magazines, but it's starting to feel good. I feel like I'm starting to get some kind of vibe here that wants to be in my mirror. How are y'all doing over there? Does anybody want to do a check-in in the chat box? Anything in particular coming up for you? Anything you want to share? Pop it in the chat box. I'd love to witness. Are you saying where do the messages come from, Amy? Is that what you're saying? Yeah, where they come from. Well, I believe that it comes from our inner knowing, and that's the beauty of the intentional creativity process, is it brings forth what we already know. It brings forth our truth, our wisdom, our knowing, and sometimes it's our fear or the not listening that keeps it at bay. And so using these processes allows the information to come through. And so that's why I'm laughing, because like I have a story around stuff. And so of course the truth that's coming up is debunking the bullshit stories I have. So that's why I'm like, ooh, I don't want to hear that, because then I can't have my bullshit story. Oh, let's see. Yeah. Does that support you, Amy, what I just said? That it's coming from you. It's coming from you. And we're surrendering, right? We're surrendering choosing the colors because we think they're pretty or they're our favorite colors. We're surrendering choosing pictures or words because we like them. We're allowing them to choose us because we're intuitively choosing it. So basically, these processes allow us to get out of our own way so that we can hear our truth. Because sometimes we need help. That's what's happening. Let's see, Roberti said, I needed to make my mirror bigger to hold all that is finding me. Oh, okay. That's magical. I love that. The stuff that's coming up for me, like these group of women. So I've got a story that I don't really have a community in my area, and that I can't really find my people here, and they're not like me and I'm not like them. And this photo is showing women who are clearly in connection. And so it's kind of like I don't get to have that old bullshit story of like I can't find my people, right? Because I can. And I do have people, whether they live near me or not. So it's a good reminder that our stories keep us in a place that doesn't serve us, because they try to keep us safe. But it doesn't, we're not safe when we hold back and play small. We're not safe. We may feel safe, but it's not really us showing up in our greatness. So that's what's coming through for me. Yes, it is like a type of meditation. It's quieting the mind so that we can hear. And sometimes the hearing comes through visuals and colors and words. And sometimes we choose things and then they don't want to go on the page. Oh. And I get curious about stuff. I get curious around like what words are popping out that aren't being covered. I get curious around if I want to fill all the spaces. Is that what my intuition wants, or is that what I want? And if I want to fill all the spaces in, what's getting in the way of leaving some spaciousness open? Why do I feel the need to like fill everything up? Is that a reflection of how I show up in life, that I fill up my time, I fill up my space? And so maybe there isn't anything else to go here. Maybe it's inviting me to open up and have spaciousness. So now's the time to really get curious about how things are coming onto your page. And again, check yourself if you're trying to make it look a certain way, or need it to be a certain way, because that's a great reflection for you too. I hear that, Roberto. It's annoying when it doesn't want to make the page. And I'm like, when it's like, pick me. And then I put it on the page. It's like, no. And that's what this rose did. The rose said, pick me. And then I put it on the page and it was like, no, not this page, another page. So I'm gonna so I have a container that I keep by my desk. So for when that happens, I put those materials in there. And the funny part is like this was one of those pictures that I took out for a different page and it didn't want to go on, but it wanted to go on this page. And so again, it's just like it picked me, but it was like, wait, not yet. You haven't gotten to the page that I'm supposed to go on. So I saved this one for a really long time, like months and months and months. And now it wants to go on the page. So sometimes I make pockets in my Cosmic Smashbook for this moment too, where I'll keep things in my Smashbook pockets that I collect. And then I'm like, maybe today's the day that it wants to come on the page. All right. So these 3 images for sure want to be in my mirror. And so I'm just going to like play with the placement for a moment and just let them guide me as to where they want to go. Always checking to make sure I am not trying to make it look a certain way. And always inviting us to have an image or something that goes over both sides of the pages so that we're connecting that right, left side of our brain, that male, female energy, that we're staying in harmony with that. All right, it is bringing me to the same place, so I'm just going to glue it down. It's like, how many times do you want me to tell you this is where I go? And I'm like, fine, I'll listen this time, fine. And if you need to reconnect with your inquiry, please feel free to do that. What truth am I ready to acknowledge? Unless you chose different inquiry, which is totally fine. Oh, well, hello there, MA, my beautiful, beautiful, beautiful friend. Magical dose of energy you just brought in here. Thank you very much. How are you doing today, my beautiful friend? Just doing a little Cosme Smashbooking. Coming in right as I glue the moon. Can't make that shit up. Oh, I'm so happy you're here. You're the greatest. I love you dearly. Always in my heart. Always in my heart, my friend. So we're doing this page on reflection where we're reflecting on these past 7 months, and no big deal. Just a little reflection on the past 7 months. And we're making a truth mirror. And our inquiry for this page is, what truth are we ready to acknowledge? Yeah, no big deal, just the truth. And so I came in with this idea of doing like a hand mirror. And then my muse said, oh, no, silly girl, you get to do a big rectangular mirror. So this purple outline is the base of my rectangular mirror of truth. And the 3 images that came up for me that wanted to be on my truth mirror, these magical women dancing by the sea or ocean, by a bonfire, this moon, and this cottage. And so I think, MA, what's happening here is that I've got this story about how I got to do everything on my own. I'm all by myself. I don't have anyone. And I think, the truth mirror is like, hey, I am the truth mirror, AKA bullshit detector, and you are in fact not alone. And I get to be open and embrace that I do have people. It's just it's a trauma response, right? That I can't count on people. I don't have people. And so it's working through. Speak, mirror, speak. I know, right? The mirror's like, oh, sweet sister. We understand why you have that story, but it's time to let it go. It's time to let it go. And I think that's the truth that I get to acknowledge, is that we have these stories that hold us back. And that has been my continual story, is that I'm all alone. I'm a single mama, and I got to do everything on my own. I don't have people locally that I can be in community with. And so y'all are witnessing, it's time for me to let go of that old bullshit story. So thanks for being present and witnessing. And this is like the magic of this process, is that in a loving, creative way, it will also speak the truth and hold you high of what's happening that maybe you don't want to acknowledge. And so for me, it's like, it's a really gentle way that holds us. But you got to be open to it, right? You definitely get to be open to not hearing what you want to hear. And when I tore that picture out, I was like, oh, I know what that means. So I feel like something does want to go here. And there's also a part of me that's like, let it be, let it breathe, and don't force it, right? And so I'm also looking at and I mentioned it earlier, what is happening in your process that could also be a reflection that you need to hear right now? And is it me trying to force things, make things happen right now, opposed to just let it be, let it sit, let it go through its process, be trusting. And so letting it go and just letting it be for now and really embracing what is now. Oh my gosh, I feel like I'm having these breakthroughs as I'm speaking. When you lead things and then get breakthroughs, and you're like, you have to stay grounded and keep leading while also having breakthroughs. The power to hold it. Oh, so I'm curious, my friends that are on the other side doing your process, what's coming through for you? What is present to you in this moment? I love that. Oh, look, Emma, did you see that I have a feather pen? You put a feather in the chat. Look, I got a couple of feather pens. A client sent me these, and I was like, oh my God, it makes me feel extra magical. I'm like, don't mind me, I'm just writing with my feather pen. So good. So good. Oh, Jen, I'm happy to hear that your page is feeling so good. Do you want to share? No peer pressure. No peer pressure. Is there anything that came through that you feel like is really serving you in this moment, or something that you feel like you get to be curious about? Gosh knows, I got lots of stuff that I get to sit with. I knew what you meant. It's fun. Typos are a thing. It's fun. I'm going to sip my coffee. It's so funny how I want to fill this up so bad. And I'm not gonna, because I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna listen to my muse. I just think it's so funny. Jenny said, I found a quote by Buddha that says, there is no path to happiness. Happiness is the path. Oh, girl, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. And I really feel that, because I feel like that kind of messaging is what's coming through for me too. It's like, yeah, this part about not trying to get to the end and finish, right? Like, be here now, which makes me think of MA, right here, right now. Oh my gosh, MA, you pop in, you're in the energy. Uh, Mir says, leave it open. Yes. Yeah. So my takeaway for sure is going to be like not just unraveling the story that doesn't serve me, but also being in this inquiry of like, why do I feel like I need to fill up all the space immediately? Like, why is it uncomfortable for me to just be in the way it is now? And that is my biggest takeaway, really. Like, the truth that I get to acknowledge is, yeah, filling up all the spaces or rushing to the end and not being present in the journey. So there's a couple of things swirling about in my brain right now. And inviting each of you to do some journaling, because again, when we're open and we're stirring up the energy on here, things are going to come up, and so the continuation of this process is to be with it. Sounds like I could take my own advice, huh? Be with it. Roberta, you said mine is saying to shine, but I get to do it on a full spectrum of fiery, in your face, all the way to subtle, soft blush. I love that. All over. Shine. So that's my invitation. My invitation is to allow the process in which you created this page to also be part of your reflection, because clearly I am being the person that's like real life showing you like something as simple as wanting to fill the space has meaning and is a reflection. And so what is that reflection for you? And definitely create some spaciousness to journal. In the description of this live, which will then turn into a recording, there is a link to my Facebook group, Storytellers and Wild Creatives. I would absolutely love to see your pages. One of my favorite things is doing these monthly workshops with you. And the only bummer is I don't get to see your pages unless you post them on the Facebook group. So I'd love if you came to the Facebook group when you feel like your page is good enough to share, and share any insights that came through. Because I'd really love to see what came through for you with this reflection, because honestly, I feel all up in it right now. I feel like all up in it. I am definitely going to gift myself some time to, at the very minimum, write down some inquiries that I get to be curious about, and really hope you do the same for yourself. Because this process is just not like, okay, we did the thing. It's like, okay, this is probably going to come out on my deck, and I'm going to probably put it under the sun and under the moon and like be with it. And also, I want to mention that today I opened up applications for a scholarship. It's a partial scholarship that I am giving away called Writing with Catherine. It's for my Book in 90 program. Catherine was a lovely human being who I had the great honor of working with last year in my Book in 90 group. And she was living with cancer and doing treatments and showing up to Book in 90 calls and working on her book. And her greatest drive in that program was to finish her book to leave to her daughter. And sadly, she passed before she was able to finish her book. But, she's been on my heart, and I just have been wondering, like, how can I honor her? How can I keep that energy of Catherine writing? And so I decided to do a Writing with Catherine scholarship. So if you are a caregiver, or you are someone who is living with an illness that, look, I understand that caregivers and folks living with things like they do not have the capacity to write books. Totally honor that. But I am definitely looking for the humans who are like, you know what? I can I'm going to try to do this because I have a heart to do this in this moment. So, because I also was like, well, gosh, I know what it's like. And it might not be attainable for some, but for those who feel it could be attainable, inviting you to fill out the scholarship application. I'm going to keep it open until, yeah, probably like the 26th of August, and just want to keep Catherine's beautiful energy alive. So definitely dedicating this next group of Book and 90 writers. This next group is going to be dedicated to Catherine for sure, and just a reminder that yeah, life is now. So thank you, Roberta. Yeah, just honoring. There's so much happening, and just, it feels like such a small thing, but I just wanted to do something in her name because she was just such a light, such a beautiful light. So, there's also a link to that application in the description of, oh no, there's not actually, but if you are on my newsletter list, there is. And you could also just message me and be like, yo, I'd like to fill out the application. Um, that's it, my friends. Thank you for spending some time with me. And I hope that there was a gem in this hour together that you can take away, and it just enhances your day, enhances whatever you're up to. So I love you lots. Take good care of yourself. We stirred up some stuff. Maybe you get to go outside and put your feet in the ground, go for a walk, move your body, do a dance party in your kitchen, whatever is accessible to you. Move some stuff around and stay in it. Stay curious, and yeah, look forward to seeing some pages in the Facebook group. All right, so next time that we'll be doing this party is going to be on September 4th. And of course, I'm going to post it everywhere and on all the things so that you stay up to date. But if you're a planner like me, maybe September 4th at 9 a.m. goes in your calendar, and I have no idea what the theme's going to be, but we'll be doing it together. All right, my friends, I'll see you next time. I love you.